Coming to you dead and direct from high atop the beautiful Horror Hotel building in glamorous metropolitan downtown Chatfield, Ohio. It's time once again for Creepy Cheapies, where we examine the best in latex monster masks and, recognize the art of monster masks for the art that it truly is. And, here on Creepy Cheapies, we have discussed the creature from the Black Lagoon before. I've told you about him and how it is generally felt that he is one of the most realistic monsters ever created for the movies in terms of being a very natural, believable looking combination of human and fish. He's pretty much what a fish man would look like. And, that first movie with him came out and changed the world of rubber suit monsters way back in 1954. And then there was another movie about him in 1955. And then by 1956, the only way I can figure it is there has to have been a meeting of the Board of Rich People at Universal International where someone stood up and said, gentlemen, we have one of the most famous and popular and successful monsters of all time in our movies, the creature from the Black Lagoon. What we need now is a way to ruin him so that we never have to make another film about him. And they thought about it for a minute, and then one of the executives, probably a guy called Smedley said, what if we turn him into a fat guy in pajamas? And they all said, oh, Smedley, that's it. That's what we need to do. We turn him from this beautiful, natural-looking fish creature into a fat guy in pajamas. And thus was born the third film called The Creature Walks Among Us. Now, if I sound like I don't think much of the film, I don't. But it is to the credit of the people at Universal and Universal International and Universal City Studios and all the other universes, multiple universes, Universals. It is to their credit that when you watch their movies, somehow they seem more real than a lot of the other monster movies of the period, even when the stories are as dumb as the one in The Creature Walks Among Us, where the creature starts out like his amazing special effects, impressive self, and then somebody catches him on fire, which is a horrifying scene when you're a kid because, it's not like seeing Jason or somebody like that caught on fire. Creatures seem more like a real animal, so it's kind of disturbing seeing him, burning and roaring. And anyway, despite all logic, scientists who try to save his life after he's been burned up find that he has human lungs and such underneath the gills and the scales and the fins and all the fishy outer part. And if you've ever seen a sci-fi movie where aliens or robots or whatever disguise themselves as humans with human masks, and there'll be a character played by an actor, and then at one point they tear their mask off and they have a monster head or an alien head, and because of the need to have a mask big enough for an actor to wear, their head is bigger than it was when they had the human mask. Have you seen that happen? It happened on V. It happened on, at least one episode of Doctor Who I can think of, City of Death, it happened, and some other motion pictures and TV productions had that same problem going on. But that's kind of what happens in Creature Walks Among Us. But in 2021, I believe it was, the people at Trick or Treat Studios came out with this super cool mask of the monster from Creature Walks Among Us. Now, if you're thinking I don't need one because I've got a Creature from the Black Lagoon mask, okay, that's a point. But they did such a beautiful job capturing the look of the one in the movie that this is a pretty authentic looking movie prop replica if you're into 50s monsters and vintage classic monsters, even if you're not too keen on this particular film in the series. One nice thing about it is that pictures, for some reason, catalog photos for this mask show it being much smaller, but you actually get more here than what it showed in the catalog pictures, which is unusual because usually online stuff, they make it look more deluxe or expansive than it really is. But this guy has this full chest piece here hanging down, which means you could, leave your pajama top open if you wanted to wear it. And it is wearable. The eyes are cut out. I just have a piece of black felt in there right now. And what's he on? What's he on? He's just on a piece of PVC that I sawed off and just stuffed some wadded up bags in the top of him and stuck him on there with a piece of black felt toward the face. And there he is. Beautiful sculpture by a guy named Eric Lubati. And how do I know that? It comes with the Trick or Treat Studios tag that says, I love it that is as recently as the 2020s, they would do something like reproducing tiny little copies of vintage movie posters like they did here. You see the Creature Walks Among Us poster, and on the back it says sculpted by Eric Lubati. So there you go. But this is the way he looked in that movie. Now, oddly enough, the creature originally had a smooth, bald head like a human, but then when he starts becoming more human in the third movie, he develops scales on his head. I'm not sure how that works, but that is how it looks in the movie. So Trick or Treat is correct in making a slightly visible scale pattern here. And really the level of depth and subtlety to it, pretty accurate, pretty close to in the movie. And I don't know if you can see this, he has Velcro, I can't get them open with one hand. He has Velcro holding the back together so that if you want to wear it, you can get it on and off and then stick the Velcro back together and you can wear it. And it is a pretty great likeness of the one from the movie, even if you're not too keen on the story of the movie, which seems really weird to me, why they would want to take the best looking monster ever and have all these scientists work on him to turn him into a human, and then he turns out to be considerably bigger. This big bulky, you know, he goes from this very muscular looking, pretty buff sea creature to looking like, I thought, a less evolved big thug. You know, he's a big goon in pajamas clomping around like It the Terror from Beyond Space or Monster of Piedras Blancas or something. He's more of a big clomper stomper monster when he's more human. Unfortunately, the movie ended before we got to see what he would have looked like all the way transformed into a human. So you'll have to use your imagination to decide what he might have looked like had they succeeded at turning him completely human. I won't flatter myself that he would look like me. No, he'd make a better looking human than I did, I think. But another great thing about this mask is that they came out with matching hands, and Trick or Treat very seldom does hands. They didn't actually do hands to go with their general Creature from the Black Lagoon mask, just for the sequel, in which he has different hands because the hands are less fish-like. Did you ever get fish-like frozen vegetables? Remember that? No. The hands are rather more human, with more human shapes to the fingers and the nails and everything than in the previous movies, in which his hands were much more alien to those of a human, certainly, more spread out and had these patches of, I don't know what they were, some sort of sucker air intake things on the palms of his hands and big splayed out fingers with big webbing between them. This is what the hands look like, and even if you don't like the mask, I recommend the hands anyway if you can find a set, because if you don't have a creature mask, they go very well with a lot of other green monsters. You could wear these with green aliens or sea monsters or green demons or any Cthulhu type sea monsters. A lot of green masks could use these, so I recommend the hands anyway. And they were sold separately. I don't think they ever offered like a set, a three-piece set with the mask and hands. I think you had to buy either the mask or the hands. But I tell you about all this because it was announced in 2023, only a couple of years after this went into production. It was announced that the contractual agreement between Universal and Trick or Treat Studios would be ending at the end of 2023. So this ceased production in 2023, which means it might be, by the time you watch this video, it might be hard to find one of these. Like if you're watching this video and it's, 2024 at the time, you can probably still find one. But if you're watching this video in the year 2368, gonna have a hard time finding one of these. Yeah. So I hope you can find one, and I hope it doesn't cost you $4,000 because he's discontinued and licensed and all that good stuff. I hope you find one and can add him to the collection because, again, even though I'm not keen on the movie's plot and I didn't like the fact that he looked like a big, overweight, bulky guy when he was supposed to have been turned more human, I do like the mask, and I really appreciate their fantastic attention to specific details of the original used in the movie, because this is very, very close to what he looks like in the movie. As for the color, it's a black and white movie, so who knows? He could have been a little browner or a little oranger or a little greener or a little bluer. We can't say. But hey, you could repaint him if you don't like the green, although personally I like the color they used, and I'm going to leave him this way. And I didn't do anything to this one either to enhance it. You know, this is just the way it came, and it's not a catalog copy or anything. It's just a straight up copy. I think these were about $55, $60, about $60. Is that what you cost? Yeah, I said so. And I think the hands were maybe, how much are the hands? 45 a pair? 50, 40, $45 a pair, I think. And the mask around 60. And pretty cool. So hurry and get your fins on one while you still can. The discontinued Creature Talks to Fungus, Walks Among Us. What an ominous title, isn't it? The Creature Walks Among Us. They thought that was extra creepy in 1956, you know? He walks among us. You might not notice him. That guy over there from the AAA changing a flat tire on that car, he might be the creature. It's kind of what it sounds like. The Creature Walks Among Us. Anyway, that's all from Horror Hotel for today. Our recommendation for the Creature Walks Among Us mask. And, well, again, I don't know why after he caught on fire and then when they went to operate on him, suddenly he was a lot bigger and bulkier looking. But I guess a lot of people tend to put on a significant amount of weight right after they stop smoking.